Symbol of occupation. Take the symbol of occupation. And above there on the wall, so they keep an eye on you. You see, in the States, Uncle Sam keeps an eye on you. Here, Uncle Sharon keeps an eye on you with a M16.
I lived in the United States since 1975, and every time I've returned home to Jerusalem, things have gotten worse and worse. 4 years ago, I met David Michaelis at Link TV, and he comes from West Jerusalem, and I come from East Jerusalem. So we come from the same city, but in reality, two different worlds.
I was born in Jerusalem, and I've been living there all my life since 1945. 5 years ago, I came to the United States to launch a TV channel, and that's how I met Jamal Dajani. Jamal challenged me to think about solutions that hadn't been discussed until now. And one day we said, well, we should test it on the ground. The reality there is very harsh, but why don't we go over there and do it? Here we're not on ground zero, we are here in a bubble. And after some time we're working together with Jamal, I said, definitely Jews and Arabs can coexist in California. And San Francisco is a neighborhood where you only have to choose what kind of latte you want to have in the mornings.
When I go there, I'm always eager to go to my people, to my neighborhood. I want to just have the least interactions with Israelis as possible.
Many Israelis don't want to know about Palestinians, they don't want to reach out, they don't want to cross into streets and neighborhoods where the Palestinians live because of a mixture of fear, suspicion, stereotypes, and so on.
So we decided to go together to visit each other's neighborhoods. And I would talk to Israelis and David would talk to Palestinians. And together, we would face the harsh realities of our shared land.
Growing up in the 60s, the Palestinians just weren't in the head of anyone.
For us, it's different. We knew we had property and it was taken away from us by force. I remember distinctly knowing that this is the wall that separated the East and West Jerusalem. And this was the no-man land here.
My family lived in Jerusalem for centuries. In 1948, the State of Israel was founded, and for Palestinians, this time was called the Nakba, or the catastrophe. Like many Palestinians, my father and his entire family were pushed out of their ancestral home. They moved to a small apartment in East Jerusalem because the city was divided into a Jewish and an Arab city. And in 1967, the Six-Day War happened when the Israelis invaded Jerusalem and conquered it. We have lived under the Israeli occupation ever since, always longing to go back to our ancestral home.
And my father's story that he lost the home that he was born in and his father, etc., always was with us. Ancestors, whenever I walk here, I feel as if they're walking in like a shiver in my body, like I feel their souls. They used to have the stables down there, and actually this is my father's room right there.
Right next to
the yeshiva school now. So these trees, I would say, easily 50-year-old trees. Because my father, when he came here, he said he remembered when they left here, they were a little bit taller than him.
I was born the first generation to be born outside our house. To take someone's home is like worse than ripping their heart away from their body.
I took David to meet Khalil Harb, my childhood friend. He and I went to the same school. I went afterwards to the United States, and he went to Greece to study dentistry, but he returned to Jerusalem. He's been living there ever since.
Maybe half the people he meets here, he did a root canal for them.
He's seen the situation deteriorating. Since the Intifada, half of his patients cannot even afford to pay him, but he never turns anyone away.
And you see some guy coming from Russia and says, this is my land, and he takes your land, which you have been here thousands and thousands of years. And somebody comes only a month ago and says, this is my land. Why? Because God gave it to me. You start not believing in God. I'm a Christian. I stop believing in God, maybe. Imagine if communism falls in China and you find some Jews in China, my God. The number will be about maybe 10 million. Yeah. Where we could put them? Look at the country. In 7 years, you have brought in about 1 million and something from Falasha, Russians, Americans, I don't know, from Argentina, I don't know from where. These people are more, because they don't know the Arabs, they don't know the Palestinians, they don't know the people of the land. So these are the extremists, and they are becoming more and more. 1/3 of the nation are newcomers. Newcomers who came during intifadas and during fighting.
My family lived for many centuries in Germany. And in the 1920s, when the atmosphere became impossible for the Jews, my mother left for Palestine to begin working as a gymnastic teacher in a youth village.
She was thinking about her identity as a Jew, and she came to her parents and said to them, I don't think the Germans want us here. I'm looking for another place where we can do something totally from the beginning. So she came here. I think her organization saved from the Nazis about 15,000, 20,000 children. And I think it's good you hear a bit that I didn't land from Mars or from Berlin, but I have some roots here. So this is my home since '46, and I love the neighborhood. Up there on the corner, there's a Catholic convent with a huge courtyard where it was very easy to learn to go on bikes. This house was in '46, '47, the last joint Palestinian Jewish house. We had a very good relationship with the Ayyubs, and then the war started, 47 independence war started.
The Ayyubs were pushed out, all the Arabs were pushed out.
They were pushed out.
Do you feel guilty that you're living here?
No.
I mean,
no,
you don't feel guilty that this is a home belonged to a Palestinian family, and they got pushed out, and you are a recipient, the beneficiary of their blood and sweat and tears.
I feel that the Israeli government owes them, because the Israeli government is the one who made this law about people who are not here. And the question is if people are ready to take compensation instead of coming back.
The next day, David and I separated so that I could go alone into Gaza. Along with the West Bank, Gaza is one of the 2 areas that had been taken by Israel in 1967 and has been an occupied territory ever since. While I was in Gaza, David attended an Israeli right-wing rally in Jerusalem.
A large movement of religious Israelis believed that rather than returning this land, it should be annexed by the State of Israel. These people, called settlers, were creating villages in the occupied territories in order to create this reality. The rally was one of many demonstrations held by these